Alright, welcome class. Today's video is going to be our first video from our puzzle cube challenge. This is how to make a sketch and how to create a 3D cube. So this is most of your first introduction to Onshape. So this here is the general home page. So again, we went to cad.onshape.com. Here in the upper left hand corner, this is kind of the quick key to get you back to the menu. Here on the left you've got a set of menus. A lot of our assignments are here in the classes. Anything that I create is either owned by me or created by me. Things that you shared with me will be in this folder. So today we're going to create a new file. So we're going to hit the create button. I'm going to create a document. This is going to be a 3D cube. So I'm going to change the name to 3D cube. And I'm going to hit create. So this here is the general Onshape working location. There's two types of tabs that we pretty much play with in this class. First is a part studio. This is where we create all of our parts. And then assemblies, which we won't get to in this video. But this is where we connect parts to make a bigger device or an assembly. So often this is where we sketch, and this is sometimes I'll call it the Lego tab. So today, making a 3D cube, we're going to go step by step. So you'll notice over here we got a 3D workspace. I always encourage you to use a mouse so that way you control easier. Left clicking just kind of does a select all. If I right click, I can spin and rotate the 3D, which can very quickly get confusing. If I use the mouse button and click in and drag to the right or left, it will shift up and down, left and right, and the mouse wheel zooms in and out. So if you're a video game player, you're probably used to it, but for those who aren't big video gamers, at least on a PC, it might be a little bit different. Over here in the corner you've got some quick navigation. I can quickly click on top and it will spin and give me almost a 2D view from the top down. Again, I can right click and spin it around again. Click on the front, it takes me to the front of my object. I've got arrows which will spin it left and right and also rotate it. You can also move this around by left clicking. So to start off making a cube, I'm going to start by making a rectangle and making our 2D sketch. For me, it's easier to go to one of our faces and kind of make this a 2D look versus this 3D look. So I'm just going to click on top. I could click on front, right, or any of the other sides. I just happen to click on top. So now I've got this kind of top-down view of the 3D space. I'm going to click on this sketch button right here, sketch. Couple things to call out here. It's added sketch here to this left-hand menu. If at any time I want to edit this after I'm done with it, I can double click on it with my left mouse button. I'll also notice that sketch 1 here and sketch 1 here are currently red. If I hover over it, it says it did not regenerate properly. Select a sketch plane. If it's in red, that just means it's not done correctly. Could be I'm just starting and I need to complete it. It could be that I've done something and it just didn't work. I need to try redoing it. Oftentimes, you'll click on a new button. You'll get a blue box here. Sometimes it might be red. That's typically where the work needs to be performed, so take a look and see what it says. In this case, it's asking me to sketch a plane, and also right here it's asking me to select a sketch plane. So since I've got a top-down view, I want my plane for my sketch to be viewed from the top down. So I'm going to click on top here. I could also click over here. Same thing will happen. You now see kind of a lighter blue box. I'm going to leave this up but my sketch plane is good at this point because this turned black, as did this. Before I move on, I'm going to do a couple of things to make my workspace a little less cumbersome or busy. I'm going to hide the top, and I'm going to hide these lines, which are really my front and my right view. So I'm going to hover over here on the left. I'm going to click the eye to make it invisible, or to hide the front, the right, the left, and the top. So now all I'm left with is my sketch plane. In this case, we're making cubes, which a 2D cube is really just a square, which is a rectangle. So I'm going to start by making a corner rectangle here. Now that I've got it selected, it's now highlighted in blue. I'm going to left click and drag and just make a square. It could be any size I want, anywhere I want. I'm just making a square to let the Onshape know, hey, I'm making that has something that has a shape, the square shape, as kind of the underlying basis. So for our project, we make 3/4 inch cubes to make our puzzle pieces. So right now you can see this is 1.4 inches tall and 1.5 inches wide. So I need to change that. To do that, I need to change the dimensions. So I've created my sketch, I've drawn my rectangle, now I'm changing my dimensions. So I click this button. I know it's good because it's highlighted in blue. Now since it's a square, the top and the bottom are the same size right now, and the left and the right. So I only have to change one of each. So I'm going to start by doing the top. I hover over the top line. It turns yellow to let me know, hey, if I click, it's what it's going to select. I left click and I drag up. At this point, it's giving me my dimension lines with my dimension measurement in the middle. I left click one more time, and now I went from having the number to being more of a text edit box. So I'm doing 3/4 of an inch. I have to use decimals, so 0.75. When I hit enter, it's going to auto resize the top and the bottom line to 3/4 of an inch, or 0.75 inches. Now my box is smaller. It also proportionally did the left and the right size, but it's not exactly right, and I want to make sure. So I clicked on the right hand line. I got my dimension lines. I left click again to bring up the text edit box, and I go 0.75 again and hit enter. Now since I already had this one hard coded in and I changed this one, it didn't auto readjust these. Instead, now I've got a 0.75 by 0.75 square. So two-dimensionally, I'm good for making a cube. So at this point, I'm done with the sketch. I'm done with my rectangle and my dimension. So I'm going to green check this to let Onshape know, hey, I'm good. The nice thing about Onshape is it is cloud-based, so as I go along, everything that I'm doing should be saved on the cloud as long as I don't get disconnected from the internet. So again, I've got my 2D shape. Now it's time to make my 2D shape 3D to make it a cube. To do that, we're going to do what's called extrude. It's this button here. Looks like two squares kind of together or overlapping. And the way to kind of think about this is if you ever have one of those Play-Doh presses, we've put the plate in front of it, we've got our Play-Doh ready to go. Now we got to just extrude it to make it that shape. So I'm going to hit the extrude button. Just like when I hit sketch, you'll notice this is red, as is this. So my extrude just started, but we know it's not good yet. I still need to work on something. I look for my blue box, faces and sketch regions to extrude. If I hover over it, it says select face or sketch region to extrude. I want to extrude from this square to make it 3D. So I select it. You'll notice it changed colors. Now I've got face of sketch 1. Extrude 1 is now black versus red in both locations. Technically it's good, but I also need to double check my depth, because right now it's saying 1. I want to do 3/4 of an inch to make it a cube. So I typed in 0.75, I hit tab to go to the next. Now if I right click with my mouse and spin, I can see it's a cube. It's all the same dimensions in all directions. If I go back to the back, bring it back over. If instead I went, say, 1.25 inches, well, now it's not a cube, it's more of a rectangular prism, as it's now taller than it is wide in the width and the depth. So again, we're doing 3/4 of an inch cubes, so I'm going to change this to 0.75 inches, again, to give me my 2D cube. Hit green check mark. My cube is now good from a size and dimension standpoint. The next couple of things I'm going to do before finishing this video is to show you how to edit the material and edit the appearance. So right now we just have the basic blue generic color. Here in the parts list down here, I can right click on part 1, and there's a couple of different things I can do here. I can rename, which we'll do. I can assign material and edit appearance. There's some other things, but we're not going to worry about those today. So first I'm going to edit the appearance. In our puzzle cube project we have 8 different colors with 8 cubes each. So I'm just going to start by making this my red cube. So I click on the red color, you'll notice my cube has changed. So I'm going to hit the green check mark. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this to red cube. This will make it easier later on when I go to the assembly tab and I insert the parts to find the red cube versus the blue cube versus the green cube. So now I've got that done. I can also edit the material or assign the material. When you first do it the first time, it'll say assign material. We do a lot of our puzzle cube is done in wood, so we go with maple and we go hard. It then has some different density and other metrics, not necessarily pertinent for this assignment, but if we were doing some simulation, this is where that information is coming from, the material and the Onshape library. So now I've got a red cube, I've turned it into red maple, red hard maple. One more thing I can do to make life easier for myself later on is rename the tab, and I'm going to rename it the exact same thing as the part, red cube. So at this point I've got a red cube. I'm good to go. It's 3/4 of an inch in each direction, and this is sufficient for one of the 8 cubes we need for our assignment. Last thing is I'm going to make 8 different colors, so I'm going to duplicate this tab 7 times. With cube copy 1, I'm going to change this one to blue, as that is one of the other colors. I'm going to rename it to blue cube. And I'm going to do the same thing with the tab. I'm going to go to the next copy. I'm going to edit the appearance. I'm going to make this one of my orange cubes, rename it, rename the tab, I'm going to rinse and repeat. We're going to edit this appearance on this one. I'm going to turn this into purple. We're going to rename it to purple cube. Save myself some time, I just copied the name so I can rename this here. So now I've got red, blue, orange, purple. We're going to change this one to a dark green. That's one of our other colors. Rename dark green cube. Nope, didn't copy that one. Dark green cube. We're going to do this one a lime green or a light green. Light green cube. We're going to edit the appearance, make sure we do a light green. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, still 2 more to go. Edit the appearance. So black is one of our colors. Black is a tough shape color to do in Onshape because you kind of lose sight of some of the lines. So I'm going to change the transparency down on this one, so that way it's still dark but I can see my lines. So I'm going to accept that. I'm going to rename this the black cube. And then last but not least, we're going to make this one a white cube. White's not really a color, so I'm going to go with this kind of silverish grayish color. Rename white cube. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different Part Studio tabs, each with a different color, 3-inch cube. I've renamed each part and each tab to the corresponding color of that cube. That's it for today's video. In the next video, I will be combining them to make a puzzle piece. Thanks, and see you in the next video.